So yesterday I finished my analysis and I decided to monitor 4 pairs, which are the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar, the US dollar against the Chinese yuan, the euro against the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. I know that in many of these pairs there are currency in common, such as the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar especially, but still the strategy in these pairs holds, so I decided to monitor them in any way, and in some of them I'm already in some of them I'm already losing money, but it's okay. I mean, it's just a couple of hours that I'm in these trades, maybe like 4, 5 or 6 hours, something like that. But yeah, still the strategy is there, it holds up, so until I get to the stop loss I won't go out, of course. So I just want to show you where I entered and where's the stop loss and where's the take profit or take profits in many of these pairs. Okay, so if you go on the trading view profile, you will find out that my strategy is based on a multi-time frame base. So I look at the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour and hourly chart. Then I decide, especially on the hour chart, where to enter exactly. So to find the better enter and the better stop loss, and yeah, the take profit is usually on the weekly. But yeah, if you go on the profile, if you know Italian, I'm sorry for everyone that doesn't know Italian, you will see the detailed analysis, but I just want to show you quickly. So we see a move that is lateral, so it's not actually moving in a right direction, but we see a decreasing period now that started in June 18 of the 2018. Actually, it really started in March and it's now continuing, and it created an ABCD pattern. So if we go down to the 4-hour, actually better than that, the hourly chart, we can now see that the prices have broken the Kijun and also the Kumo, which is really great for us. Since I'm not constantly on the charts, I decided to enter after the break of the previous highs. So I'm in now with almost 0 profit and 0 loss. We are going up to the Kijun if possible, of course, as take profit. And as usual in my strategy, the stop loss is always below the minimums, the previous minimums. We go now on the US dollar against the Chinese yuan, and we see something similar, of course, because the strategy is always the same. So we see here instead of a lateral movement, we see now that this pair has gone up from February 14 to December 16. Then it retraced a little bit, actually a lot. Like if we look with Fibonacci, we see that it went below the 61.8%, which is really bad for my point of view, because the retracement has not to go below the 61.8%. Otherwise it's not a retracement anymore, but it's a starting of a negative phase. But in any way, the prices have gone up again towards the previous highs with a spike here. So we found out this range of possible resistance that we can use in order to find a possible bearish position to make. And so I decided again with Ichimoku, with text to Ichimoku, where to exactly enter. So I found out 2 possible entries. One is below the Kijun and below the Senko B, which means below the Kumo, which is great because it breaks the upper movement. And also another enter, which is more safe if you want, is below the previous minimums. So the stop loss is always over the previous highs, and take profit again is on the Kijun weekly. Now we go to the Euro Aussie pair. We see again we have gone up to the previous highs. We have found a range that can lead to a resistance. Again we go down to the Kijun. We go to the hourly chart and we find a possible entry. I found out that the best entry here is the break of the Kijun, which would lead to the break of this minimum here, which is okay. I'm already in this position I'm going now to show you the positions on the broker. We go down here to the Kijun minimum. We could also go down to the Senko B here. Again, quickly, the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. We see a lateralization again. We found out this range of support, and we are in a bearish phase again with the ABCD partner. We go down to the hourly again, and we find the entries. We can go again here above the maximums here, the previous highs, in order to enter safely. We have already broken the Kumo and the Kijun and the Senko, of course. Of course, the stop loss is always below the previous lows. We have gone down to this low. Again, the reason was explained in detail in the analysis that I did on TradingView. But yeah, the take profits are a little bit different here because I found out that the Senko B on the daily could be a possible resistance, if you want, for the price to go above this level. So this should be the first take profit to consider. Not a real take profit, but just something to keep in mind, and maybe move the stop loss at least on break even. And then the second take profit should be the Kijun weekly, which is also over the Kijun daily, this flat period, if you want, of the Kijun daily. And then the ultimate take profit, which is a really not impossible but pretty impossible take profit, is the Senko B weekly, which corresponds to these highs. So these are the pairs that I'm going to monitor this week. These four are going to be monitored in the week, and I've already entered in 2 of them. I'm now going to show you these 2 positions on the broker. Okay, so in the broker we see the 2 positions. I'm now losing 15 francs on the Euro Aussie and 5 francs on the Aussie CAD. But yeah, the strategy still holds up. I have a stop loss of 1% of my capital, which is 5,000 francs, as I said in the introduction video. These are my positions, and I'm going to monitor all the 4 pairs, not just these 2. And we're going to see a couple of updates in the week. Okay, so just a quick update. Today is Tuesday and we are finally in positive for almost 25 francs. We are now looking at the Aussie CAD chart. We see that the price has moved up, touching our entry, then going down in our negative, and then going up again. And then 3 negative hours, and then again up to the previous highs that we can find also around 4 p.m., 3 p.m. of the 30th of August. Actually, this little, not retracement, but a little negative 3 hours, these negative 3 hours are not bad actually for us, because we can move the stop loss there. We are now looking at the Euro Aussie pair. We see that we enter as shown yesterday. We are now on the positive side. The prices haven't really moved much, but they have gone down a little bit. They have gone down till the 23.6% of Fibonacci, which is not bad, not good. It's really neutral for us because we need the price to go down to the 38.2% in order to call this a retracement, starting of a retracement. And hopefully we can get there by tomorrow, or maybe even today evening, probably between today evening and tomorrow morning. We will see when the Australians will start trading. So yeah, right now we are in positive actually, so this is good. At least we are around 20 francs. We've been around 25 francs before, but yeah, around 20 francs now. In both positions we are more or less on 10 francs positive. So we will see if we will actually hit the take profits. For now, I will stop here. I will analyze in detail the 2 remaining pairs that we are not actually trading right now because the entries have not been met yet. So I have to analyze them every day in order to see if the strategy still holds up. And also I want to analyze in detail even these 2 pairs to see if actually the strategy still holds up, or I might even close the positions. But we will see how this goes through the week. Okay, so a quick update. Today is Thursday and I'm sorry about Wednesday. So yesterday I couldn't give you an update because I was actually busy. I had some appointments and I couldn't look up the graphs in detail, so I didn't want to update you. I looked the graphs in a very quick way and I just saw that we have actually hit the stop loss on the Euro Aussie pair, but it's completely fine. It's of course planned in the strategy, so it's absolutely fine. The only thing that I would like to mention is that maybe we could re-enter in a second time. I have to look at the graphs in a more detailed way and find a new entry. The entry briefly is possible under the Kumo. I thought about the Kumo because it would break these lows and so yeah, enter a little bit under where the previous enter was, but the take profits don't change, they are all the same. Also, a news is that the same day, so yesterday, we entered in the New Zealand dollar versus the Canadian dollar. We can see here we entered here precisely at 4 p.m. of yesterday, as I said before, and we are a little bit on the positive side. On the Aussie CAD, we are actually quite a lot in profit. The Kumo is developing in a good way. On the hourly chart, we can watch the 4-hour chart, and we see also here that the Kumo is becoming little and little by the time passes. We only have this little problem, if you can call it problem, which is the Senko B for the prices, and they will actually find the Senko B hard to break probably, so we could see a little retracement on the hour chart probably. About the US dollar Chinese yuan, I see that it's not moving so much, so I would leave this operation for the next week. We could even move the entry point under the Kumo and enter today or tomorrow. It depends on how the price moves, but I wouldn't recommend that. I will not do that. I will actually wait for the next week and see if we can go down to this Kijun here, to the Kijun weekly. Maybe waiting for the break of the Tenkan weekly. So this is all for today. We will see how the trades go in the next day, so tomorrow, which is the last day for our trading week. Yeah, maybe I will make an update also on Saturday with some consideration about the positions. And yeah, I will not close the position. I will tell you this also tomorrow, but I will not close the positions, of course, even if it's Friday, because the strategy is not based on time, so I don't need to close the positions. I don't care about the gaps. First of all, because the stop loss is very far away, and second of all, because the gaps don't really mean anything for the strategy. So the gaps are not going to impact the strategy, and the strategy would still hold up even with the gaps. We will see an update tomorrow and maybe on Saturday. Okay, so I know that I told you that on Friday and on Saturday I would have done an update, but I was busy both days, so I couldn't make an update. But essentially the thing that happened is that we hit the stop loss on the Aussie CAD pair, and we are now in negative on the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. So a pretty bad week, not very bad, because we are just around 1.5% negative. I will explain you why 0.5, but essentially yeah, we hit the stop loss on the Aussie CAD pair, and as you can see, if we go down to the 4-hour, we've broken these lows, but we are still in the range of the support. So probably we could place another position, we could open another position on the same pair. I had to analyze in detail again these pairs in order to be able to make the position, to open the position. As you can see also on the New Zealand dollar, we broke the Kijun here, the 1-hour Kijun, but also the 4-hour Kijun here. We have gone up to take the entry point, then a couple of days, I think like 1 day or 2 days, and on Friday we went down, completely down. But yeah, again, this position is still fine because we need to break these lows here where the stop loss is in order to invalidate the position. About the US dollar against the Chinese yuan, we see that we didn't hit any of these entry points. Contrarily, we went up not to break these highs. So again, the position is probably still valid. Again, I have to analyze it, but I can tell you that probably is still valid. But we will see maybe to move the stop loss and the entry point. So yeah, this is essentially what happened in this week, in the 2 days that I didn't update you. And we see on the broker here that we are down to 5,100. That's because we are in negative on the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar, so it seems like 2%, but as if we count just closed position, we are around minus 1.5. I will show you the journal now, and I will explain you why. But yeah, if we look also the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar, again we entered here and we are down now here. So here's the trading journal. Don't look at these positions, these are the positions that I did on my, so these are the 2 positions that I made. The Aussie CAD, I closed it, and we closed it with an exit price of 0.94 more or less, with a loss of almost 22 francs. Which is around 0.5, you see 0.41% negative, and that's because simply I've mistaken the lot size. So yeah, I think this is all for this week. I don't have anything to share anymore for this week. So if we can recap a little bit, we opened at 3 positions and we hit the stop loss on 2 of them, and these are the Euro Aussie and the Aussie CAD, with a comprehensive negative performance of 1.35%, 1.35%, and that brought us around 4,930 francs, more or less. So yeah, this is all for this week. See you next week.